What's up, everybody? It's Minister Crush here. And the thing I want to start with, and I want to start with a definition. Um, the definition of addiction is a compulsive, chronic, and psychological and physiological need or habit forming substance, behavior, or activity having harmful physical, psychological, and social effects and typically cause well defined symptoms such as anxiety, irritability, tremors, and nausea upon withdrawal or absence. The reason why I started it this way is because I want to give you the three addicting habits that I had to break. And I think a lot of these same addicting habits most people have today. The number one addicting habit I believe um, that is affecting most people just worldwide is this bad boy right here. Most people have a phone addiction. And let me tell you why it's such a problem. I grew up in the 90s, and a lot of my upbringing was unplugged. Um, I remember going outside, I remember playing with friends, um, and I didn't have a phone. I didn't have a cell phone. We had landlines. And the thing about this is, the first time I got a phone, I was 18 years old. And I got a phone because I had to go out and get a job and buy it myself because I had to pay the bill myself. The phone that I got was a Nokia brick phone. The only game I had on there was Snake. And there was no internet on phones, it did not exist. So I grew up in a time period where I had an unplugged childhood, but then as I transitioned into an adult, technology started to change. And now we're dealing with a generation of people coming up who grew up in the technology age. People who grew up during the 2000s grew up mostly with technology in their life. And I know how addicting these phone apps are. Most of us have Instagram, most of us have TikTok. And the thing about these apps, they are designed to feed your addiction. They literally read what's called the algorithm, and this algorithm is specifically designed for you individually. It looks at the things that you look at, the things that you like, the things that you search, especially in Instagram. If you really want to know, this is for women, if you really want to know a dude that you're talking to or dating, go to their Instagram, check their Explore page. And you'll get a good sense of who they are because you'll see what they are interested in. And you can tell what type of man they are. Same with the men. You can do the same thing. You can go to their Explore page and see what type of woman they are. Um, because the algorithm is built specifically designed for each individual person. And so I know when my coworkers may send me a video, and the thing about it is sometimes when I click on the video, the first thing that pops up is not usually even a video. It's usually a video of something that it knows that I would like or be interested in, and then eventually it'll flow to the video. Um, but the problem is when I get on it, I'm spending so much time scrolling. What they have that endless scroll. The thing about the endless scroll is that you can be on it for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. You can be on all day, and you'll never reach the bottom. That's how addicting is gotten. And so with these kids who are getting phones, I didn't get my phone until I was 18. I was an adult. Well, technically an adult. I still lived at home. I was still in high school, but I was an adult. Imagine having the same technology today that I would have when I was 5, 6, 7 years old. I know grown men who are addicted to Instagram, grown men who are addicted to TikTok. And now we have kids who have iPhones at the age of 7, 6 years old. Like these upcoming generations, I'm telling you, they are very cooked. Like it's it feeds their addiction at such an early age. And now when I walk outside and I literally see people head tilt down on their phone walking. I literally, the other day, I watched that person literally walk into a wall because they are so addicted to their phone. And so, in order to combat that, I had to develop for myself rules for myself when it comes to my phone. Rule number one, and if you are dealing with addiction, the first thing you have to do is admit that you have an addiction. And that's most people who are dealing with addiction will not admit that they have an addiction. That's the last thing they want to do. So first you have to recognize that I have an addiction, and then you have to have a willingness to change that addiction, to go into a pattern of new behaviors. And so rule number one for me, when it's particularly to this particular addiction, I don't get on my phone when I wake up. Most people wake up and check their phone. It's the first thing that they do. I don't check my phone. I don't check my phone until after I have done my morning routine. Once I'm ready, clean, ready, got out the shower, whatever case may be, got dressed, I'm literally heading to my car, then I'll officially check my phone. And then when I'm checking my phone, I'm only looking for my important text messages. Once I get in my car, I usually have my phone on YouTube. I literally watch videos that are educational, videos that are teaching me something about finance or teaching me something about religion and belief. Belief. I don't do a whole lot of religion stuff, but belief in God and in Jesus Christ. But, I literally look at the phone for educational purposes. I don't look at my phone for entertainment purposes until after 2 o'clock. Because because I know who I am and I know myself. And I know that this is a strong addiction I have for me. And so the second thing I do is if I'm going to look at things entertaining, I will do is what is called habit stacking. I couple it with a habit that I know I need to do, that I know that's going to be beneficial for me. And so for most of the things that I watch throughout the day is educational things. And then when I'm going to the gym, I habit stack. And so while I'm at the gym, I will be on the machines or whatever case may be. I will be on the stair climber, and then I'll turn it to a podcast that I like. Something that'll entertain me. Now I'm habit stacking. Now I'm doing a thing that's going to benefit me. And on top of that, then I can do a thing I love. And so that's the only time that I can actually get that phone addiction rush or dopamine hit is when I'm at the gym. And so what does it do? It actually makes me want to go to the gym more. It actually makes me look forward to going to the gym. Because then I can watch my podcast. I can watch my YouTube channel that I love when it talks about movies and Marvel Universe or whatever case may be. Like the guilty pleasures that I have, I use those only at the gym. That way I'm not just mindlessly scrolling, wasting time. Because I'm not wasting time at the gym. I'm doing something to benefit my body and also benefit myself for the future, hopefully give myself more longevity. So, addiction number two. Addiction number two, I believe most people in America are digging their graves. And not the way you think they would. Most people in America are digging their graves not by alcohol, not by drugs or illegal drugs. Most people are digging their graves with a knife and a fork. The second biggest addiction is a food addiction. And I know I like food. I know I like to cook it, whatever case may be. And I love cooking food for other people. But I know it's an addiction for me. And in my opinion, I believe food addiction is the number one addiction in America. Now, statistics will say that it's alcoholism. Um, but the reason why I believe it's food addiction is because, number one, it's harder to diagnose. It's not readily reported. Most people do not report having a food addiction. And as a psychologist, I know that in the DSM 5, the DSM 5 does not classify um, food addiction as a standalone substance disorder. They couple it usually with a behavior disorder or a eating disorder rather than a primary addiction. And because of the low report rates, it always comes very low on the statistical scale. But the truth of the matter is, you literally can see how unhealthy the food is in America. One of the reasons why I think, one of the reasons why I believe this is true. Do you know who the owners of the largest food companies are? Most people don't. Most people don't look into it. Most people don't do their research. The owners of the largest food company is R.J. Reynolds. Now, do you know who R.J. Reynolds is? R.J. Reynolds acquired Hawaiian Punch in 1963. That is the start of a transition. And if you don't know who R.J. Reynolds is, R.J. Reynolds owns Newport. They own Camel, they own Pall Mall, they own Lucky Strike, they own Natural American Spirit, all cigarette companies. During that time, there was a shift from cigarettes being okay or good or the cool thing to do, because they started having these companies put these warning labels on their cigarette package. Cigarettes are harmful. Cigarettes cause cancer. And they started noticing a decline in their sales. And these smart people knew they had to pivot. And where'd they go? You also have Philip Morris. Philip Morris acquired General Foods in 1985. And then they acquired Kraft in 1988. Who's Philip Morris? Marlboro. Why would these companies, who are cigarette companies, go into the food industry? Because they know that people have to eat. And if I can get these companies that people use, I know how to keep them addicted. Like that was their goal. That was their bread and butter, to keep people and feed people's addiction. And so what did they do? They added highly addictive substances into foods. Now, most of your food is engineered with a combination of fat, sugar, salt, sodiums, all kinds of things. Like, you read a label now for bread and there's like 30 things on there. Most of them you can't even pronounce. Why is it not just water, flour, eggs, whatever simple ingredients go into making bread? Why, when I leave my bread out on the table, I remember bread used to go bad. It used to mold. It does not do that anymore. That's not okay. That's not that, like, people don't think about this. Like, you go to different companies, like what I want you to do is check the average consumer ratings for these companies. And you want to see who they cater to, what type of people they cater to. Because when you go to McDonald's, you see a different breed of people than when you go to Sweetgreens. Like, even at the stores, when you go to Walmart, there's a different type of person that goes to Walmart versus a type of person that goes to Whole Foods. So you gauge and you can see who you're going to be, especially if you look at the older people who are 30 and up. If you are young and you're looking at people who are 30 and up, And they're at the same place that you're going. You're getting a snapshot of what your future looks like. So be mindful of the things that you eat. Food addiction, I believe, is the number one addiction in America. Obesity is skyrocketing. I mean, trust me, I know. I know. And I'm working hard to reverse a lot of the effects of the careless, hedonic eating I've been doing most of my life. And then last is a lust addiction. Why is lust so dangerous? Because often, if you engage in compulsive sexual behavior, or a disorder, or what they call it, hypersexuality, or whatever the case may be, it's dangerous because what it does is it hijacks the parts of your brain that is linked to what's called the reward system. And it erodes your self-control. Even as an adult, you start to lose self-control. What happens when you, whatever parts of your brain is mostly active, especially, that's the reason why these phone addiction is so bad. Because and now with the phones, you have easy access to whatever addictions that you have. If that is the less addiction, you have easy access to it because it's in your pocket now. But what it does is it overstimulates parts of your brain that usually is not used to be overstimulated. Your dopamine factors are usually taken over. And it gets to a point where you're neurologically, it changes the way your body releases dopamine. It changes the way your short-term pleasure is supposed to activate normally, and now it's over and over again, over and over again, over and over again. It lowers your self-esteem. It increases shame, of course. It makes it harder for you to focus on meaningful goals. Like, it literally rewires the way you think in your brain. And so, how do we combat? You have to have these rules, and stop looking at rules as a negative thing, but look at it as disciplines in your life. You have to change your disciplines. You have to start being more disciplined as a person. Don't go to certain websites or whatever the case may be. You have to change the way you move and function. And so what I definitely do is I don't look at my phone after a certain time at night. I cut my phone off. I go to do not disturb or silent or whatever the case may be after 9 o'clock. Because I know if I'm up past 9 o'clock and I'm on my phone after 9 o'clock, most likely it can lead to dangerous behaviors or risky behaviors or whatever the case may be. And I'm scrolling through Instagram or whatever the case may be, and I noticed that there's a shift after certain times of the things that it feeds you. You start to get more sexualized images or whatever the case may be, or Instagram reels start to change after certain times. Like, it literally feeds. Like, the enemy is really tricky when it comes to this stuff. So you have to be aware of who you are. You have to know your addictions. So when you become a more disciplined person, changes your behaviors and do the things that you know you need to do, it starts making a shift in your life that's completely for the better. So that's all I have for today, but I hope that this really speaks to someone, that it gives them the ability to address or even evaluate or even just accept that they have an addiction, whatever that addiction may be. And if you like the video, please like it, subscribe. But until next time, I'm Mr. Crush. Peace.